Hi guys, welcome back. So it's a Six Nations preview show, and I am very privileged to be joined by Tim from Eggchasers. And if you don't know about Eggchasers, Tim's going to tell us all about it. What's it about, Tim?
Well, Rich, thanks for having me on. Much like you, we're the OGs, but we're the OGs on Eggchasers when it comes to podcasting. And you're the
O
OG
for
on
original,
YouTube,
not for old, right? O for original.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to nip at your heels and follow through the little vacuum you've created, blazing a trail on YouTube. So yeah, I absolutely love my rugby, as you know, because we were once teammates at Bath University.
We were. We didn't quite remember until we made contact, and then it was like, oh yeah, I remember. And I tell you what, we haven't spoken about this, but we only played for a year together. I think I actually started a fight, my only fight in training. Don't know, there was a mauling session, and they called the backs in for opposition. We hadn't a clue what we were doing, going in the side, being really annoying, and you just lost your rag, I think. Do you remember that?
Well, I vaguely remember that. Vaguely, because anyone that's played with me for any length of time would probably have a similar story.
Is that right?
Yeah,
that's the main one I remember.
I'm a calm guy most of the time, but
no, you were right. You were right to do so. I was so in the side, hadn't a clue what I was doing. It was anyway.
Well, yeah, that's when you could self-police in rugby. That's when you can self-police and
absolutely
get the better of refs. But yeah, no, I obviously love my rugby. Work for BT Sport on their rugby coverage as well. And loving what you do on your channel. So absolutely buzzing for this little collaboration.
Well, me too. Absolutely. Yeah, I've done some collaborations with guys in the Southern Hemisphere, but this is the first one with a UK-based YouTube channel. So yeah, let's get on it. And in true rugby fashion in the clubhouse, we haven't told each other the questions we're going to ask each other. We're just going to go for it and see what happens. So maybe if we take it in turns, Tim.
Yeah, I'll go first.
I like it. Rich, I like it. Keen.
Would you would you have binned Eddie when he was binned?
Oh, that's my third question. You got it in first. Good one. Yes, I would. I mean, I can't go against what I've been saying on my channel. I think I was sticking with it for quite a while, but about a year ago, maybe a bit more, I think he'd kind of just lost the mojo there. When things go on for a long time, that can happen, for one thing. And also, I think he'd burned through so many coaches. He didn't have a lot of talent left who were either willing or able to work with him. So he really was scrabbling around. And I think I read, tell me if I'm wrong here, that actually that was one of his regrets, was his selection of coaches. And I imagine that's later on in the career. It just wasn't working. They were clearly trying. They had a plan, Tim, but because it wasn't working, I thought, you just got to make a change. What do you think?
Well, yeah, on the coaching front, I don't want to speak out of turn on, because there's lots of rumors that I'm sure lots of people have heard rumors of various coaches' experiences. All I'll say is I'm looking forward to the memoirs in years to come, because I think there's stories to tell. But that's not for me to talk about.
No.
All I can say on the Eddie decision is I was at Twickenham for the South Africa game at the end of the autumn. And much like you, I was kind of willing to think, okay, well, he's proved it at tournaments. He's one of the most experienced. He's done well before. And I'm sure it wasn't the only decision that came into it when the RFU panel made their decision. But those boos, I've never heard anything like it at Twickenham.
Do you know what, Tim? That's really interesting, because
palpable.
Being Eggchasers, you have a bit more clout than me. You got into the South Africa game. They only let me in for the Japan game, but I really enjoyed it. And
I was actually working for TalkSport on that game, so I didn't get. But anyway, but yeah, bye.
Even though England won and played quite well, the crowd, I honestly hadn't heard anything like it. When the team was read out, there wasn't a cheer, because no one could really get excited about it. There was half a cheer for Manu Tuolangi, I think, and then when the subs came on, it was just like a groan. So yeah, and that must have stepped up a level in the South Africa game.
Yeah, they seem to put massive amount of effort into the light show before the game and all the rest of it, but the energy just drained. And it was really, really depressing. And I'd been I've not been happy with Eddie, but I'd been willing to go along with it. But straight away I came out and said that's the line crossed.
Yeah.
So
No,
I'm glad we
so.
are where we are, and we're all optimistic looking ahead into 2023.
Yeah.
Where do you want to take it next, Rich?
Well, I mean, to be fair to him, I mean, he's put a decent coaching team together, considering it's the middle of the season. He's got a couple of, big names, some real talent there with Sinfield, with Evans. So, it's a good start, but, the talking's on the pitch, of course. What about Gatland? Do you think that was the right call then?
What, for him to go to Wales?
That's my question right back at you. Yeah, for them to get rid of Pivac and Gatland to come in.
I can totally understand it. I would have loved. I was actually in favour of the Gatland with Borthwick assisting till the end of the season and the two of them together for the World Cup for England, which I gather was on the table for Gatland. But what Wales came up with the readies to make him an attractive offer and basically make it. He's going back there, and what I will say is he had a lot of power before. He's king of Welsh rugby now, isn't he? He can do what he wants. He can make up whatever Gatland laws that he wants to do. He will rule the roost. And you kind of, with the snake pit that Welsh rugby can be, you probably need someone that's almost like a dictator in that sense. Yeah, I can totally understand why Wales did it. Do feel for Wayne Pivac. I think it's a bit like the Stuart Lancaster thing. Stuart Lancaster with England did loads of great things, but then that pressure cooker comes on, and that's when you sink or swim. And Stuart Lancaster didn't have the experience. I hope he gets another chance in the future. I think Wayne Pivac, it was the same. It's all of a sudden his Welsh team were not playing the way that his Scarlets team used to, and that's why he was given the Welsh job, because he was going to evolve the way they play and bring this attacking game, and he just got very conservative. And I think the writing was on the wall at that point, whereas Warren Gatland's got so much experience, he just gives that sense that I've got this, and I think that will feed into the players.
Yeah, and it could be a lot of the same players, couldn't it? But, just that confidence coming in, that fresh start, sometimes that makes a difference, doesn't it? But, I mean, they haven't got much time to go, have they, to get up and running? I mean, go on then. What's the six? Oh, and it's not my question. It's not my, go on, Tim, your question.
No. It's absolutely
excited. No, you go.
I'm so excited because I think Wales have probably, here we go. Who's in the worst shape going into this Six Nations, do you feel? Who will be most nervous? Which set of fans?
Who's in worse shape? Oh, I mean,
or which set of fans will feel least optimistic going into this?
That's a toughie. It's a hard one. I'm probably going to insult whoever I answer. Probably Wales, because they haven't inspired recently with their performances. And it's a small player pool, so a lot of the players are probably going to be the same. So I think they'll do well, but I'm guessing Wales. I'm going to turn it around slightly. I'm going to say the most nervous would be Ireland, because all the vibes I'm getting from Irish media and comments is they're scared because they're playing so well, and they've done it before, and they're just scared they're going to run out of puff. People are going to work them out slightly, i.e. you stop them playing quick and you can beat them physically. I think the pressure's on Ireland, actually, even though that wasn't quite your question. I'm going to say the pressure's on Ireland to perform well. And if they have a big slump, I think the alarm bells will start ringing.
Yeah, the death taxes and Ireland getting to a World Cup quarter-final, they're getting twitchy already. I'm going to say Scotland, because there was the news about Gregor Townsend the other day applying for a coaching job elsewhere, and there's one member of the coaching backroom staff that's moving on. It's the Finn Russell Gregor Townsend relationship. It's not. I don't think they're in great shape. I think Wales can tell themselves. Wales fans can feel optimistic because they've got Gatland and he'll grab the team by the scruff of the neck a little bit. I think Scotland is the ones that offer so much potential when they've got the best 15 out. They can beat anyone, but
that's it. I mean,
on a knife edge, which way it's going to go for them.
Their performances on the pitch for Scotland, they've put some fantastic performances in, which is why I didn't say Scotland. But I think behind the scenes in the camp, it hasn't seemed right for a while. That weird thing when he dropped Russell and then brought him back in, and Russell was amazing. It's just odd. Something's not right. But it's too late. It's too late now, isn't it? They're going to have to go with it. Surely he's not going to drop Russell again, is he?
Well, surely not. But it just feels that again, we haven't had official. I don't. We had an official word on that. That's definitely happened. That Gregor Townsend has offered his services elsewhere. I don't know that we've had the official word on that.
I haven't heard anything beyond rumours.
If that is the case, then that just speaks of a head coach that's expecting a bullet sooner or later.
Yeah,
or at least looking for what the next job might be, which is which every coach, everyone in jobs, full stop, has to have that mindset. But it's not what you want at the start of a World Cup year.
No, but I mean, if Scotland won the Six Nations, I mean, that would be the boost they need. They need, I think, to get over the line. They've performed so well in individual games, but just to get that win in some sort of competition or a series, that's what they need to give them the belief. And of course, going into the World Cup, they're in that pool of death along with Ireland, aren't they?
Oh, I know. I was going to say taking the Irish scalp, whatever else happened in the Six Nations, if they took that Irish scalp in this tournament, I think that would be absolutely massive because, like you say, that pool.
Well, England up first, of course,
they're in a tough spot.
I mean, they'll fancy it. England up first is a good fixture for them, I think, because they'll absolutely love it. They're underdogs, but they know they can beat them. That's just going to be that's going to set it up so massively.
Oh, I'm so excited about that already.
Absolutely. So for going first round pick is England, Scotland. Is that the game you're most excited about?
Oh, absolutely. No question. The Borthwick rain. What's it going to be? I will temper that with. I hope England fans aren't expecting a massive departure in terms of how we play. I think you'll get a crowd that's massively behind the team. You'll get there'll be noise and there'll be that feel good factor again. It's Six Nations, it's a World Cup year, it's a new start. But I do think that Borthwick will bring a very pragmatic way of playing to England. So as long as fans' expectation isn't that it was a bit dull at times with Eddie Jones and a bit brain dead decisions and all the rest of it, I think it's going to be a very simple, pragmatic game plan that Borthwick brings. Is that what you're expecting? That kind of Leicester blueprint?
Well, not necessarily. I think a good potentially way to look at it is how Farrell approached with Ireland. When he started, Ireland, they didn't set the world alight. He was trying to get the simple stuff right, and it was a little bit stop-start, wasn't it? But then when he got into his systems, wow. So I'm guessing that's what he's going to go with. He's going to go solid first, and if it happens quickly, great. If it happens slowly, okay. Not that they've got a lot of time, but I'm guessing that's the way he's going to go. But you wouldn't appoint Nick Evans as your attack coach unless you wanted to try and do something fairly special or different than the Leicester way. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Nick Evans will execute whatever Steve Borthwick tells him to execute. That's kind of he's the assistant after all. He's just there to deliver the coach's vision. But it's a good comparison actually with Farrell, and he had Mike Catt, who's quite similar to Nick Evans in his philosophy and the way he likes to set his teams up. And now, and like you say, the last couple of years, we've really seen that Irish attacking shape come to life, and they're doing some absolutely fantastic things.
Yeah, it's going to be quite
so good.
Not critical for them, but I mean, the way they attacked against New Zealand was phenomenal. It just blew me away from minute one. It's the best Irish team I've ever seen take the park. If I don't see that again in this Six Nations, then I'm going to get a bit worried for them. I think they need to show that level of speed of ruck again. If they, that's what they want to achieve. Otherwise, it's kind of like, again, the peak too early thing. They did win ugly in the autumn, but I don't think this Irish team is a team that's kind of built to win ugly as well as other teams potentially. I don't know is that your opinion as well?
Yeah, they're not at their best they're not the most comfortable in an arm wrestle, but I do think they've got that in their locker. They don't have giant men, but they've got some real hard men. So I think that's something they've added to their game. As you pointed out, they have won some arm wrestles. The South Africa game being
they can defend like champions for sure.
Yeah,
but I don't know whose question it is now, Tim. Anyway, do you want to go? You go for one.
Oh. Okay. So just jumping back to England specifically, which new faces are you hoping to see in Steve Borthwick's squad who haven't been involved or haven't had a cap, let's say?
Okay.
New faces or old faces returning, whatever it is, just people that are going to be fresh to the squad.
Yeah, well, I think I'll go with what I've been saying in the autumn is I wanted some more speed in that team to do something out of nothing occasionally, because it was looking like Eddie was building a team that, if the system worked, then they might score. But if the system didn't work, who was going to do something special? So I just want to see a little bit of stardust in there. Maybe Ollie Hassel-Collins, Ollie Lawrence, just something, again, to give the fans something to get excited about. And sometimes the move can be as simple as get this guy in some space and see what they can do. Because as much as I love Johnny May and Jack Knoll, they weren't looking like they were going to be beating anyone one-on-one. So, yeah, I want to see some one-on-one, absolute gold dust in there, and something a bit exciting maybe in the back row as well. And the guy I really, really want to see is Alex Dombrandt. There's split opinion on that, actually, on the comments. Some people think he's maybe not quite up to international standard. I think if you give him a series of games, you will go wow by his rugby intelligence, his lines, his offloads. And I think it would just potentially take England's attack to the next level without having to be overly clever in your systems. So, yeah, they're the guys I'm looking forward to.
I mean, on Ollie Hassel-Collins, spoken like a true winger. And I was a number 8 in that Bath Uni team he played in. So I think the way you just described Ollie Hassel-Collins and Alex Dombrandt was very much how you and I used to play back in the day, Rich.
Well, that would be nice.
But I'm with you 100% on Ollie Hassel-Collins, and I think he is going to be in the squad, and I think he will.
Good.
Very, very, very good chance that he's going to start against Scotland. Well, just think, he's signing for Leicester next season. That was a Steve Borthwick signing. He's done some incredible things, hasn't he? And
consistently, what's so good.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a big, big boy as well. So where I do understand the temptation to go for a big body like Joe Thockner-Singer and stuff, and the way Eddie Jones did. I just think Ollie Hassel-Collins was the solution there, because he has that physical presence, but he's so deadly. So yeah. I'm 100% with you on that. What's frightening is, and makes me feel old, I actually played rugby with his dad as well.
Really?
At Newbury Rugby Club back in the day, I was coming through into the Colts, and his dad was the first team. Guess what position?
Winger.
Tight head prop. Tight head prop.
Cool.
His dad was a very good tight head. So yeah, Ollie Hassel-Collins 100% is going to be in the England squad, and I hope he starts against Scotland. And I also want to see some new blood in the back row. The one that I'm most excited about, I think, and particularly with Tom Curry being out, I think I want to see Ben Earl back in, but he's been in before, and he's the best player in the Premiership at the minute, so I hope he gets a chance. But Tom Pearson is absolutely one of those guys. If you buy into that concept of a test match animal, Tom Pearson is a test match animal. I didn't realize until I saw him in the flesh how massive he is. He's huge. He
looks like he can't fit through a door. His shoulders are so broad, He's got that build, hasn't he? That inverted triangle build, and a turn of pace on him as well.
So he's over 18 stone, 6'3", and he, at times for London Irish, he's been a bit of a one-man team. So I think he's got international potential. So I know I've ended up chucking more names in, because Ben Earl, Alex Dombrandt, I totally agree with you on Dombrandt, and Tom Pearson. With the absence of Tom Curry, I think he could offer something there.
Yeah,
in the squad, maybe on the bench.
Yeah, but, finishing off the England chat here, because we want to get on some other teams as well, is of
course.
The worry I have is not a worry, but if England go for some of these new guys like Earl and Pearson, Curry just goes through a mountain of work, a mountain of tackles and rucks, and like Underhill would do. Do you go for too much flash, of course, and then you don't do the dog? So I guess that's the balance that Borthwick has to strike.
And I think that's, with all these teams, that's it. The balance is the word, because it's not the best 6, the best 7, and the best 8. It's the best trio.
Okay, guys, so that's the first half done. Thank you very much, Tim. The second half is going to be on Tim's channel, Eggchasers. So if you haven't already subscribed to that, get over there. We'll try and release these at the same time so they are up and running. But until next time, I'll see you then.